Okay, everybody, let's get real. So, during the holiday season, kids ask for a lot of stuff. They ask for a lot of experiences, a lot of toys, they ask a lot of questions about different things. And I thought this was a good time to talk about the yes and the no bucket. So, the yes and the no bucket are when kids ask questions, they often just have a yes bucket, meaning I'm going to ask my mom or an adult or a teacher a question, and I'm hoping so bad that the answer is yes, or that I get to do it, that I didn't even fathom that it could be a no. So when the no comes, they fall apart. When the no comes, you get a strong emotion. When the no comes, they don't have a skill to use to get through that no. So I've seen it a couple times recently. So I was hanging out with a 12-year-old girl at her home, trying to help her mom and her get along better. And she's sassy and feisty like me, which are the kids I love to work with. And she always asked her mom on Sunday night at 6 if she could go over to her friend's house. And she went to bed at 8. So the answer was no. But every time she went to ask her mom, she only had a yes bucket planned. She didn't have a no bucket in her head. So we had to teach her that, right? We broke it down. We're like, well, you're going to go to her house at 6 where you haven't had dinner yet. You're going to go to bed at 8. So you're not going to be ready till 6:30. You got to drive there. That's 7. Then you're going to be there for like 12 minutes. And she was like, oh, yeah. And I said, so we built her that no bucket. So my son, so my mom lives immediately right across the lawn, like 5 giant steps away from us. And my son would always say, I'm going to go ask Nani, da, 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 da. And he would go over and at the very beginning, he'd go over and something would happen. He'd come back crying. And I was like, what's, she said no. And I was like, yeah, but she can. It's a Monday afternoon and she's probably working, right? She works from home. She owns a nonprofit. And he's like, oh. So now when he says, I'm going to go ask Nani if I can go watch a show with her, I said, remember your yes and your no bucket, bud. If it's a yes, exciting. If it's a no, come back here and we'll plan, right? When it's a no, we go to plan B. Some kids can roll with plan B and not know it. Some kids have to know plan B. Like if you go over and ask Donnie and she says no, come back here and we're going to, and then we set up plan B before he goes to ask. So when he's hoping it's a yes and it goes to the no, he can plan and take a deep breath and come back and tell me. I also hung out with a little boy in a school, and when I first started hanging out with him to play, he didn't know how to enter, maintain, and exit, play, and conversation. He would just go to the trains and like take the trains. He would just go to the magnetiles and knock somebody's tower down and take the magnetiles. So we taught him to say, can I play with you? We then had to get him to pause, right? Delayed gratification, pause, and wait for the child to answer. That's also hard. And so then we taught him to say, can I play with you? Pause. And most of the kids would say yes. When they said no, he would have really hard behaviors because he only had a yes bucket. So my suggestions to the teachers were, we have to give him a plan B. We have to say, why don't you ask if you can play? And if it doesn't work out, there's a plan B. So I used to do this when I taught kindergarten for 10 years. And I hung out with a lot of kids who, I don't believe in you can't say you can't play, that sets up bullying situations. So kids would go and ask somebody, can I play with you? They would say no and come back to me in tears. And I said, well, okay, so there's a plan B. We have to have a plan B. Second of all, well, you don't want to play with someone who doesn't want to play with you. Third of all, I'll play with you, and I'm really fun and do fun things, so that could be amazing. And 4, maybe they were just doing something and we missed like some clues or cues of what they were doing, and let's go back in 5 minutes and check in with them. So we would always play together, and I would be fun and exciting, and most of the time we didn't even have to go play again because those kids saw how much fun we were having and they came over to us. and asked if they could play. And of course, we said yes. And then right now I'm there to scaffold the play. Sometimes we would wait 5 or 10 minutes and then we would go over and reincorporate ourselves into the play. And right, because I was there, right, the child would ask or I would ask and we would together enter the play. Sometimes we got a no and I said, oh, I guess we'll stick to our plan B, right? And we kind of rolled with it. So being close by was helpful in that sort of situation, because I know in a lot of situations you can't say you can't play, and then you leave kids with others who don't want to play with you, and it ends up being mean and kids come to cry anyway. So let's make sure we have a yes and a no bucket. To set up that no bucket, to build it and construct it, we need a plan B. Some kids can roll with it as it happens. Some kids need it beforehand. So let's make sure in the holidays, there's already stress, right? I just read something that said it's almost time to go from regular anxiety to fancy Christmas anxiety. So with all the questions kids are going to ask, let's start making a plan B to make the stress of the season a little less. Okay, guys, thanks so much. See you soon. Bye.